Right, I've just been listening to this, right, and basically the vigil for Sarah Everard, all those people who went for that vigil, right, and the disruption it caused and what have you, we've all heard about it. And this lady was shouting for more laws for women to be safer. Well, there's laws out there anyway that cover that. But what they seem to be hitting is the curfew hitting, more restrictions of man movement, really. Yeah. Now, if that's the case of man movement, let's have a look at the female movement. So they all congregate in a place, right, about somebody dying and being murdered. It's not safe for women there in the streets. There's a, good, I don't know, 600 of them. 600 people, say. Women. Not all, but a big chunk. So all those women in the so-called times of pandemic, world pandemic, where the whole country's locked in, as we know, because of this dangerous virus, they're all quite happy, about 600 of them, to stand together against the rules of the pandemic, because it's not safe for women on the streets because of man. So the actions are for women are to stand together. So if half of you got then COVID, which you wouldn't know or whatever, just say half of you got COVID, that's 300 women could die, right? I have not heard on the news of 300 women being murdered on the streets. Now, man has murdered one, let's say, in this scenario, but the actions of the women together in the times of pandemic, you could be murdering anything from one to the whole 600. Now that's dangerous, is it not? Because we're talking about life here, are we not? And the safety of women. And yet their own actions are far worse than what man's are. There's an MP calling for a 6 p.m. curfew because of one lady being murdered on the streets. So all men must be curfewed at 6 p.m. Yeah? Because of that one death. Now, with the actions of the women under these pandemic times and the spread of COVID and the death of COVID, there is more death because of those actions of those women. So, because of more death, what time do we then put you under curfew? Or do we even let you out at all? Do you get me?